Hello, friends. Uncle Marv here with another episode of the IT Business Podcast. We are here live on a Wednesday night, and we are getting rid of winter down here in South Florida. But I'll be talking to some gentlemen that probably are still experiencing winter up in the Northeast. I am joined once again by Mike Mosher with Cinch IT. Mike, how are you doing?
Good. How are you, Marv?
I am good. And you brought a friend with you tonight.
I did. I did.
Yep.
I'll let Steve introduce himself.
Steve Lettery with Cinch IT as well.
All right. So, Cinch IT, folks, if you are behind on your podcast, and I don't know why you would be, but Mike joined us back on episode 467. And I forgot what I titled it. I think I titled it Managed Services is a Cinch or something.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. Managed IT is a cinch.
Managed
you stole
IT.
our corny line and made it worse. So
that's all right. So we talked a little bit about your company. We're going to dive a little bit more into that tonight. And see, what are you going to be bringing to us tonight? What's your position there at Cinch?
So my role is director of training. So I'm in charge of the entire training program for Cinch IT for all of our franchise partners.
All right. So we should have some good questions for you. So why don't we start with a little, normally we don't always do weather checks, but we've just spent 3 days where our mornings we were in the 40s, which is horrible for South Florida. But right now we are good. We are a very nice 73 and only going down to 65. How's the weather up in Massachusetts?
it was like 48 degrees today, and I was ready to go golfing. So
that was your high.
Shorts and a t-shirt. Yeah, shorts, t-shirt. Like let's go. We're ready. So
yeah. So my wife wouldn't get out of bed because it was still too cold, and the heat apparently wasn't hot enough. It tells you how things are here. So, all right. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us. Those that are watching and listening, this is the IT Business Podcast, the podcast where we help you run your business better, smarter, and faster. We talk about products, stories, and tips, all in an effort to help you do that. This show is presented by NetAlly, the #1 ally of network professionals around the world. They have been an industry leader for more than 25 years. They have the best-in-class tools and software that enable you to more effectively plan, install, validate, and troubleshoot virtually anything that is wired or wireless. And actually, I'll be talking about them in an upcoming show. For those of you that are able to see, I'm holding in my hand the latest tool, the updated AirCheck 3. It's actually the AirCheck G3. And this is the newest tool that not only does wireless checking, but if it connects to your LAN, if it's on the private IP, it will do all of the things that its big brother, the Etherscope, does, where it will do discovery and all of your little tests like path ping and performance testing and stuff like that. So I've had this for about a month. I'm actually going to be able to use it at a client where we're going to be setting up a brand new infrastructure. The building is almost complete. We're putting in 6 access points, so I get to troubleshoot that and test it and do all that. So I will give a full report on the AirCheck G3 coming up soon. The live show that we do every Wednesday is also sponsored by Computers Done Right, a managed IT services company providing IT support and management in Venice, Florida, and surrounding areas. Along with computer repair and virus removal, they also do website design, social media marketing. So for all your computer repair needs, head to computersdoneright.com. Thank you guys for all of your support. So I should probably start, and I'm sorry, guys, this got a little bit longer than normal.
No worries.
But I have breaking news in the sense that it's almost a Florida man story, but it's not. It really has to do with a place. There is Actually, you can barely see it behind me, and I can't reach it or else I'll mess up the studio here. There's a red cup back there that I received a couple of months ago while visiting the great state of Oklahoma. I was in Oklahoma City with Diana the Giles and visited for the very first time a Buc-ee's. And if you don't know what Buc-ee's is, it's kind of like the Disneyland of gas stations.
Yeah, it's like a gas station the size of a Walmart superstore, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like 100 pumps.
So, so the news here is that there is going to be another Buc-ee's restaurant coming to Florida. Apparently, I didn't know that they were here. I just assumed it was kind of like that little Midwest prairie thing that, you know, states like Oklahoma and Kansas and stuff has. But apparently, Buc-ee's is growing, and they will have another addition to the two that are already here. I didn't know this, but there's one in Daytona Beach and one in St. Augustine, and they are now going to be adding a third in the city of Ocala, which is 40 miles south of Gainesville, which is near the University of Florida. So, needless to say, I won't be visiting it because that's just too far away. And I don't venture near the University of Florida. I'm a Florida State fan. But Giles, if you're watching and or listening, Buc-ee's is growing in Florida. So that is breaking news. So, Mike, you knew all about Buc-ee's. Is Buc-ee's up there?
No, Buc-ee's is not up here, but I've got I've got some in-laws in Texas, and they I think it was the first place we went. Like, picked me up at the airport, and they were like, "You got to come to Buc-ee's. You have to see it.
Go to Buc-ee's.
You won't believe it unless you see it." And they were right. So,
Oh my!
It's not like any other gas station around here, that's for sure.
All right. Well, before we get into the show, let me just go ahead and ask, how are things going? Any great stories in the last couple of days, IT related, that you want to get off your chest, vent about, laugh about? How are things?
Well, ran into a new customer or somebody that had signed the SLA, but we hadn't onboarded yet.
Right.
They got their 365 got breached because they didn't have MFA, right? And start sending out spam, and it was a global admin that they got, so they made all the exchange rules and all that, and Microsoft like blacklisted their tenant. And the account manager's like, "What do we do? What do we do? What do we do?" We're like, "You open a case with Microsoft and you do what they tell you." Like, they're not even a customer yet. What do you what do you want me to do? And I was like, "Well, hey, now you have a real story. The next time a customer says, I don't want to deal with this MFA stuff." So they haven't had email in like a week, and like we're not even like on with them yet, and it's you're kind of powerless when Microsoft blacklists the whole domain.
So they've signed but not onboarded. So
yeah, like they signed, and like 10 minutes later they got hacked. So it's like so it's like, what do we do? Like, we don't have credentials to anything. Like, it's so.
Well, as long as they're not blaming you, because I could understand if it was 10 minutes before they signed, they'd probably blame you, right?
If it was 10 minutes after the onboarding, we'd be having an entirely different conversation. I wouldn't be laughing about it. But
right.
Yeah. So now, told the account manager, I was like, "Hey, you've got a story now. Next time customer gives you pushback on, MFA is annoying. That 3 seconds to get the notification. I'm too productive that I can't take that 3 seconds." Like, all right, well.
So the question obviously is, they're still being serviced, at least at that time, by somebody, correct?
Yes. Yeah. Okay. So there's a little bit of an overlap, right? You don't sign on IT and then get IT the next 5 minutes later. Right. So I forget when their current contract's up, but they were like, "Hey, we signed with Cinch." Then 5 minutes later, like, "We got breached." We're like, that sounds like a problem for current IT. So
our start date's not till March 1st, right?
Start date is not now. Like,
right. Okay.
But I mean, you do what you can. Not holding them out to dry, but it's like, what what can we really do? You know, we're not managing your system yet. So
Mm.
get good IT, get MFA,
Yeah.
please.
No joke.
It's at the point, Marv, where it's I feel physical pain when when there's admin accounts without MFA. It hurts in my core. But anyways,
Yeah, actually before the show we were joking because I was trying to RDP over to another station in my own office, and I've got Duo set up for, if I remote desktop in, got to do the MFA, and I'm like, I'm in my own office. But that's the way it is. And yeah, it's good. So I just actually, the client that I'm referring to that I'm going to go and do the wireless stuff for, they were on a small business server.
Mhm.
Actually, technically, they still are, but I've moved half of their computers to the new server, and they have 3 people left that are remoting in to their old machines, and they're doing it through the remote web workplace.
Mhm.
Well, when we put in the new server, they're not going to have that, so I've got to onboard them to TrueGrid.
Okay.
And they were like, "Oh, well, this is going to be so horrible." And I'm like, "No, it's not going to be that bad. You're still logging into a web portal, which is what you did with the remote web. The
Mhm.
only difference is you're going to have a multi-factor authentication on your phone. It's an app. It's easy, and I know that they do it because their banking makes them
Yeah.
do it. So
Yeah. Have you ever shown a customer the sign in audit logs on a remote server that was just public? Like
uh,
on an RDS server that was just port forwarded?
well, I've shown a client the failed login attempts.
Yeah, those. It's like
Yeah,
1,000 every
yeah.
half second. And
Mhm.
they're like, look, here's your username. It's on here.
Yeah.
Please put in the VPN, please. So
Oh, Steve, we've
they don't
hogged the
listen.
opening. No, Steve, we've hogged the opening segment. Do you have anything?
So my day to day doesn't get as deep into the technical weeds, I would say, as Mike's. My role is to take Mike's pain and be able to put it in layman's terms to new clients and current clients, right? So I do a lot of the consulting for our current client base. Right now, I'd say the busiest thing that we're working on is a lot of our current clients or even new clients are working on their new cyber insurance forms.
Oh,
Um, Seeing a lot of questionnaires come in and a lot of, I would say, new clients say, hey, why aren't we getting cyber insurance this year? And it's been new great clients for us because, to Mike's point, it's, hey, you don't have MFA in force on your user base.
Yeah.
So right now it's just kind of helping clients, or again new clients, navigate through those and just say, how can we help them for the long term to maintain that. And actually going and doing presentations for current clients on why do you have all these cybersecurity tools and the importance of it. Because when I say, cybersecurity, we try to make it as easy as possible to use day to day, but of course, it's an extra layer to your day to day operations. So sometimes you do have to go put in a code or authenticate on a new app, and of course, nobody likes doing an extra step in anything, but we try to make it as easy as possible.
so have you found that the insurance companies are getting much more intense with their no's, meaning to the fact that if you answer no to any of the security questions, you're going to get denied?
Absolutely. I mean, there's obviously the ones that are very important. So like multi-factor, right? Like if you don't have multi-factor on your email, it's almost that's the hard no right there if you're going to get
Right.
cyber insurance. But now, we're going through these questionnaires and we're seeing a lot of more granular ones like what are you using for an EDR, or do you have documented cybersecurity training for your staff? And almost if you're writing no on those, your premium is going to go through the roof now, where you're
Yeah.
still possibly not going to get it.
They're starting to ask for specific brands as well. They're not just taking
Exactly.
check. They're
Yeah,
saying,
they want to know
which
who
one do
you're
you use?
using.
Yeah.
And now Marv, so like, for Cinch IT, we specialize a lot in like the small to medium market. I would assume for a lot of the people watching, this might be the same. So if you kind of put yourself in the shoes of the business owner, the CFO, of the office manager, whoever is going through those questionnaires, they don't know half the stuff that they're going through. If they go, all right, it's Sentinel One, it's signed at, it's whatever brand, they have no idea what they have, even if they have it. So, we try to take a lot of that from the clients. Say, hey, send us the questionnaires, we'll go through it for you and send it right back, and you can put all your own personal business, requirements in that form to finish it up. But a lot of our ideal clients out there, like, they just don't know what to even fill out on half of those, and unfortunately, then they don't get cyber insurance.
Yep. It is a fun time for us.
Yep.
All right. So, Mike, I'm going to ask for a quick recap. Actually, let me do this instead of doing a recap. So, folks, again, if you want to go back and listen to episode 467, that was my first episode where I introduced Mike to the community here. But what I found interesting, probably about 15 minutes after we recorded that episode, I'm back at my desk, and in my LinkedIn, I get this little notice on the pros and cons of franchising.
They're always listening.
And I'm thinking, these sons of bitches. So I forwarded that to you, and it was odd. So for two reasons. One, because we had just had the show on it, and two, that this was actually I don't know if this guy here or somehow it was a friend of somebody at my college that I went to.
Okay.
That does this, and I just thought it was quite interesting. But it's funny, real quick for everybody listening. This is just a little LinkedIn post from a gentleman who helps franchisees and franchisors reduce costs and blah blah blah, increase profit. So he puts the pros of franchising as established brand recognition, support and guidance, proven business models, and reduced risk. And then the cons as high upfront cost, limited control, ongoing fees, and competition. Now, the only thing I really can say much about is, competition. You're going to have competition no matter if you're a franchise or not.
That didn't seem specific to franchising. High upfront costs might not be specific to franchising, right? Depending on if you need partnerships and commitments and things like that. Like if you're trying to get decent pricing and you got to commit to 500 seats of something and you don't have 500 seats yet, right? It also varies by franchise. What's McDonald's? A few million to buy one?
I don't know.
I put it this way: I have to ask, so I can't afford it. But right, at limited control, it's a exact trade-off of the proven business model, right? But
Yeah.
that's why you're going in, is to say, look, I want somebody to tell me how to do it and how to be successful. And then the worst thing you can do if you want to start a franchise is do your own thing. Well, why'd you buy a franchise if you just want to reinvent the wheel and do your whole thing, right? They establish this process, follow it. It's there. You have the answers to the test. So
it was odd because high upfront cost. What's high? Because I remember 26 years ago when I was starting out. Yes, it was easy to just kind of say, "Hey, I'm an IT guy," slap a sign on the side of the car and go around and do. But I tried to do it a little more legit. I wanted to be established as a business and have all that stuff done. I got a loan from a friend for $5,000.
Yeah,
that was a lot of money to me.
Yeah, I not allowed to like say what the fees are without the FTD and all that. I can tell you that a majority of it is basically, it's almost like an escrow to make sure that you can pay yourself and your and any employees you have, right, for X amount of time. Because obviously you don't want to invest in, and a lot of it is training as well. There's a huge amount of training. I can tell you, at least with us, we're not looking to make money on franchise fees, right? We're looking to make money by growing. We want everybody to be successful, but yeah, the like the franchise fee, that's, hey, can you can you pay your employees for a year, right? Um, can you go through training? And then there's other like actual just fees, but nothing, certainly no money grabbing.
Right. Well, I can say this, if somebody wants to just do a quick Google search, they can find out what some of the franchise fees are with I didn't realize how many franchise MSP opportunities there were out there.
Yeah.
There's actually quite a few. And I don't remember if I saw your number, but some of the numbers were super high. And I have to imagine that you weren't that high. We're talking, 6 figures and up, close to the 7 figures. So you had mentioned
No,
$1 million.
no.
I will say this. So back in 2006, my wife went to go start a market in the Atlanta area. She was a store manager for LA Weight Loss.
Okay.
And one of her clients said, "Hey, I want to do this. And how can I get started?" And they, started talking to the corporate office and they said, "Well, you can do the Atlanta market." And so he put up the money and he asked her to come and be, his, key person up there, the second in
Mhm.
command, and open up the market. And apparently he was supposed to come up with a ton of money, but he worked out a deal where he only came up with 1.1 million to open up 4 stores, but he had to agree that he was going to open up another 4 in the first year.
That's a
And, it was quite interesting to hear and watch that process because the $1 million really didn't get him very far with the stores because that, they had to, open the stores, stock the stores. Now I understand that LA Weight Loss kind of did some of that for him. They took care of the marketing,
Mhm.
but in terms of, paying the staff that was on him.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Paying
And,
the staff and inventory and
yep,
rent, and
and
planning for 100% growth in year one.
yeah,
Now, like 100% year one, you go from 1 customer to 10. It's not 1,000, but like doubling your amount of stores. How did it end up working out for him? That commitment.
he was out in a year and a half.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
that sounds about right.
Yeah, it was an interesting time. There were other factors. I think they were just right at the beginning of that 2008 bubble where,
Hmm.
the housing was starting to go and, disposable income suddenly was not disposable. So
Mhm.
it was interesting. So, but she worked with them, I think, until 2011. They actually reassigned her. They made her a corporate trainer and she went around from market to market. So she was able to do stuff. But yeah, trying to do that franchise model for that type of entity. I mean, it's obviously a lot of potential for profit, but
Yeah.
when it crashes hard.
Well, it's right. That's a speaking personally, right? I've only worked on one franchise. That's a much steeper commitment, right? Having to drop 7 figures on anything is a huge commitment. But it's just the commitment to growth, right? You go to get a business loan. What do you show up with? You show up with a 5-year plan. Um, but committing to doubling your investment in 1 year, no business is profitable the first year. Like you're better off just taking a bigger initial investment and doing 8 stores and not trying to double. Like how are you
Right.
gonna your first year you're still learning the system, you're still making mistakes. You're if you had to take any loans or anything like that, you're eating into those. Like, oh man,
Yeah.
I would I would never commit to that. But
Yeah. So let's now kind of pivot and go back to Cinch IT, the MSP. And I know we talked a little bit about what you guys do. We didn't get too specific. So I wanted to take this time to kind of have you guys describe for us. Most of my listeners are going to be in that smaller MSP range. Some of them are 1 to 2 million, some are smaller. There's some that, may have 5 techs, 15 people max or whatever. Obviously, you guys are bigger. You're in 34 places or something like that. Am I
You're a little high. We're we're in 13, so we've got 13 franchises.
34?
You're a little high. No, so across all of Cinch, we got a little more than 60 people.
Okay.
And about half of them are franchisees, half of them are what we call central, which like Steve and I work out of Central, right? Central is our trainers, our coaches, our billing team, because we do billing for all the franchisees too, our marketing team, but also our help desk. So that's it's about 50-50 between Central and then all the franchises.
Okay. There was a third in there somewhere. So 13, 30.
It's close enough. I'll take the 34. So.
So now, as the MSP, if people just go to your website, it looks like you do all the same stuff that the rest of us do, providing services and contracts and stuff like that. But what's a typical day look like for you guys?
I mean, Cinch as a whole, right? Our early morning crew is cleaning up any alerts that come through, false positive. Okay, what's still live, right? What still needs to be acted on? Getting that over to the help desk, triaging it, escalating it up, and going from there. And it all starts from there, right?
And that's because you're not 24/7, which we talked about on the last show.
Yeah. And for anybody who didn't listen, right? It's a hot topic with a lot of MSPs. We don't see it as a hot topic with customers, but Marv, you and I talked about there's listing 24/7 and then there's actually being 24/7, right? And we don't feel that it's worth it to just check the box that we're 24/7, right? Because I think you gave me an example where you walked into a law firm that had quote unquote 24/7 support, but it was basically a glorified answering service that took a call, made a ticket, and somebody acted on it at 8 in the morning. What's the point? So, like, if a customer goes down and you're not 24/7, right, and they're down at 2 in the morning, you're either going to help them or you're not. If you don't help them, you're probably going to lose a customer. So we're all 24/7. Everybody who works in this industry is 24/7 those couple times a year, but having it as part of your services, right? Do it right. And most verticals, right? I know you do a lot of law firms. We do a lot of manufacturers, and some manufacturers are 24/7. A lot of them aren't. Right? Manufacturers, if the business isn't open at 2 in the morning, they probably don't care about 24/7.
Right.
But at the same time, it's a lot easier to do, call it 6-7 a.m. to 11 p.m. without going that full commit to 24/7. Because I would be willing to bet that the 24/7 shops, you're not getting anything. Most of them, right? You're not getting anything beyond level 1 support. If anything needs escalating, it's waiting until 8 in the morning, anyways. So a lot of times you're better off set up your customers with things like self-service password reset and set them up with as much self-service as you can to minimize those level 1, 3 in the morning things. But yeah, we want to do it right. We don't want to just check that box. We definitely don't want to outsource. We keep everything in house, so we have that tighter control and that higher quality of service. But Steve, on the sales side, because you see it more than I do, what pushback do clients give? Because I don't see a lot of it. But
I would say we don't get much pushback at all at the MSP side, right? So when we're going out and prospecting, we don't see it too much. It's something that us here at Central, we know that eventually Central probably will provide our franchises 24/7, or at least 24, just because of the time difference between all our franchise partners. So that's something that eventually will probably lead towards it. But at a client level, one thing that between me and or any of the other sales guys we've always said is you want to make sure when you're meeting with a client, you have the right expectations set on what we do. Mike said that we work with a lot of manufacturers, which is 100% true. I mean, that's a majority of most of our book. And sometimes they have second, third shift. And when they ask me, hey, like, what happens if we have an issue at 11 p.m. with one of our guys? Say, typically in the last 5 years, how many times have you had an issue at 11 p.m. or 12 in the morning that can't wait till the next morning? They usually say never. Like, all right, so that's exactly how we would typically support it. First thing in the morning, we would get on that. And usually for most of our clients, the majority of their admin staff is in the office 8 to 5. And that's what we provide support for across all of our franchise partners at 8 to 5. We do have extended support available for our clients, which is for emergencies only. Kind of like Mike said, like it's very, very, very rare that it comes up. And again, we want to make sure we have the right expectation of the client on what an emergency is. Which is going to be a network-wide outage, not someone's printer just not working one night that can't wait till the next morning.
I'm about this close to making a rule that just deletes any ticket with the printer.
With the word printer.
Description. Yeah, if it says printer, it just deletes. So I don't know what happened. It's gone.
Basically, so kind of like to answer your question, like it's pretty rare that it never, I would say, is a deal breaker with a client, right? Like you tell them, hey, like in the worst case scenario, if you had a complete network outage and if it's going to ruin the relationship, we would typically, get on there to help fix the problem. Yeah. But if it is something just small, every client understands, hey, first thing in the morning, we would get on that.
The other kind of plus is you go above and beyond your SLA.
Right.
Well, what I see is, at least with some vendors, hiding behind the SLA, right? But if you under promise, over deliver, that's one of our mantras, right? Hey, something happened and you were working on an issue at midnight, because it happens, right? We do weekend projects and all that stuff too. But like if you're working on something that is above and beyond your SLA, you're just providing a higher level of service, right? So we have our SLA set to what we know we can commit to and provide that 100% level. And it's been working for us for almost 20 years now.
Yeah, I've only had one client really try to complain about, after hour support. And for the most part, we are a loose 8 to 6.
Yeah.
So, sometimes it's 8:30 when I roll in here. So,
hey,
depends how late the podcast
first response
goes.
1 hour. You can get in at 8:59, Marv, and you're good.
Yeah. But I had a law firm that would send in or try to call at 7 o'clock. And when we found out what the issue is, it was one person that couldn't do something. And they were like, well, how can we get support to where we don't have to wait for somebody to call us? I said, you pay for the extra time. And we actually worked out a deal. I found, help desk support that we could do. And it was going to cost them, $10 per person per month. And he's like, okay, we're good.
People want everything until you tell them it costs money. So
yeah. So had no more issues about that. Well, I shouldn't say that. He still mumbles from time to time, but I know that they've looked and tried to get that, and it's not been at $10 per user per month. So
$10 is cheap.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yep.
It was. All right. So what are, I know I asked you guys earlier, some stories and stuff like that, but I have to imagine most people think that the bigger you get, the bigger the problems. So I want to ask you guys, do you find that to be the case, or are they just more money, more problems, but the same?
I'd say it's more of the latter, right?
Okay.
The uh, the tricky part, right, with scale is duplicating it, right? Is duplicating your process over and over and training everybody exactly the same. And when something new comes out, it's very easy to explain it to 5 people. Can you explain it to 25 people? And make sure that they can explain it to their customers, right? So it poses challenges in that regard with training and replicating that quality of service. Um, but that scale and those resources give us additional capabilities to handle the more complex issues, right? As you grow, right? If you're a small MSP listening in, 1, 2, 3, 5 person shop, everybody's a generalist. Nothing wrong with being a generalist. I'm a generalist, right? Try to know as much as you can about as much as you can. But as you grow, you have the ability to bring in specialists and say, all right, look, we have enough of this type of issue that we can have an expert on that type of issue who doesn't look at anything else. And so it gives us that capability, but introduces different types of problems.
So I know that I've got some listeners that are at that point where you know, they want to bring in somebody just to do phones,
Don't do
or they
phones.
want to.
Find, find a phone vendor to partner with that gives you a percentage of any referral and give them the phone business.
Oh, I'm telling you what they do. Okay.
Don't do phones.
Now, when you guys are doing that, are you doing it for like that person becomes a specialist for all of your offices, or are you trying to build up the offices to where they can have, you know, generalists and specialists within the office?
Well, a couple of our bigger franchises are able to do that because we've got a couple franchises that have 5 techs apiece. So as like their franchise is not just a 1 and 2 person shop, and they'll start to specialize internally. They'll leave one guy in the office. He manages everybody else. He manages their tickets. They'll have one guy he does onboardings. They'll have one guy he does server projects. But mostly it allows us to use those specialists at central and say, all right, look, he knows everything there is to know about email routing and transport rules and things like that. Let's get that ticket over to him. So mostly at central, but as franchises grow, they're able to do it as well.
All right, and just a quick break here. Steve, you got a fan.
Good to see you, Don, virtually.
My good friend Don Sizer had a conversation with her earlier today. So
He's great.
Working on some stuff there. So when it comes to, I guess, Steve, I'll go ahead and ask you this, and I'll pivot because of that. So you're training. Are you training the staff at Cinch, or are you helping to train customers during onboarding or stuff like that? What exactly are you doing?
So it's a little bit of both. My role is I oversee both the technical and the sales training for our franchise partners. Now, I directly train the sales aspect of any franchise partner that we bring on. So typically, when we sign a new franchise, they either do the selling themselves as the owner or they bring on their own salesperson. Um, I train them for 12 weeks on the entire process that we have here at Cinch for selling. That goes between prospecting, winning the deal, and then nurturing the client once they sign on. And then after really, between working with that salesperson and continuously training them, week after week and just making sure they're managing their pipeline the right way, of course, they're going out there and selling. And now the way that Cinch works is our account managers, they just don't pass on the sign account to a new account manager, account executive after 90 days or right after they sign. They actually keep that account that they bring the entire life as the client. So as of now, my sales reps are out there managing their own accounts. I help them manage those accounts after the fact. So I help them with their onboarding. I help them with their quarterly business reviews, or even just sending out a quote sometimes.
And if
So
they need help, they'll bring in most of the time, right? We try to let them be the subject matter experts in front of their customers, right? We want to be the man behind the curtain The last thing we want is a franchise saying, "Hey, look, just let me talk to Steve. Let me talk to Mike." Right? Or not. Last thing we want is a customer saying that. We want the customer to know. All right, hey, look, Marv, who runs Cinch IT of Florida, I want to talk to him. He knows everything. And if Marv needs help, he takes the answer. He takes the question back to the team. Team gets Marv the answer. Marv explains it to the customer. That's the ideal, right? But if they've got a big deal or a really weird issue, we're there to support them and jump in on that call.
And I would say, the beauty of it too is, we've been franchising now for the last few years. So some of our franchises are still fairly new. Sometimes for a lot of them, actually, this is the first time they've ever worked in a managed IT company. Me and Mike, we've both worked in it for the majority of our careers. So we've seen a lot of the issues with a variety of different clients, so we can help coach to it. But for the franchise partners that have been with us for a long time, they've had a lot of coaching through me and Mike. And after a while, they start picking up on it, and they don't need us so much anymore. Where now they're able to go out and they're handling all the projects or quarterly reviews or assessments or presentations themselves, and maybe we do meet with them only once a month now. So that's kind of, I would say, the beauty of it is just after a while they pick up on it themselves, and we're always here for them only if they need it.
Now, in the way that Cinch looks across these 13 places, is it more of the McDonald's franchise model where you try to have every place looked and act the same, or is it more of like a Marshall's department store where certain areas may have different inventory and may provide different stuff? How strictly do people follow the franchise model?
We've got set service plans that are the same at every franchise, and that's it, because that's what the whole model is built off of, right? Is not a la carte ones and twos for services. It's a plan, right? Well, we got a couple plans, but it's, look, you need this stuff, you're getting all this stuff, right? Where if you come on board with us, we're doing the AV, we're doing the backups, we're doing everything because we know how to support your business well using that stuff. So here's our plan. Go. We do even take it, if they want a Cinch car, they buy, we we use Subarus, and they're all wrapped. Oh, we got Cinch cars. They're up on the website, Marv. But as far as keeping everything looking the same, if you want to get a Cinch car, you get that Subaru and you got it wrapped. We'll give you the wrapping pattern, except for our franchise that's up near Detroit. He's got a pretty sick truck.
Everybody's
jealous of his truck.
Really?
He's got a sick truck that's wrapped all Cinch style.
Detroit. I'm guessing an F-250.
I don't remember which. It's a
Silverado.
It's an
okay.
it's Silverado. Yeah.
Yep, Silverado.
It's fighting words, right?
I don't remember. I don't care. I'm very practical when it comes to the cars myself. But Steve likes to bring his truck to work on Fridays, so he's more invested in it than I am.
So Steve's got a truck. So
not a Cinch truck, not a Cinch truck, but I have the Subaru
F1.
and my own personal truck.
Oh, okay. Thought maybe you had the Ford F-150 or 250. Is it a 250?
He wishes. I don't know. I can't see. I just sent you a link to it, Marv. But
Okay.
I can't tell which one it is. But I like the truck.
But I guess to what Mike was saying, and it's honestly, it goes all the way back to, I'd say, the LinkedIn post that we were talking about earlier. It's the proven process. So, the reason why a new franchise partners with Cinch is we have the proven process. We've vetted all the vendors. We've gone through the headaches. We've tested everything, and we've gone through the issues that clients have, brought back to us. When we first started, we were one of the IT companies that did itemize a lot of our services. And then suddenly, of course, there's companies out there that maybe don't want to pay for our antivirus or our backup or whatever it was, until something bad happens. And then they kind of fall back to us and like, hey, why didn't we have backups in the first place? So, to Mike's point, we bundle it all in one plan. because, you know, us as the IT provider, we want to know that we're giving you everything you should have as like your fundamentals for your IT. So we bundle it all in one package to make it nice and easy for you, to be able to budget for it and know that your IT is taken care of. And, you know, of course, when it comes down to picking the vendors, that's where, you know, mostly Mike comes in. He's, you know, he's the techie one here on the call between the two of us. So he goes through, make sure the technology works in our stack, all the integrations are there. And then I come in just to make sure we can actually sell it the right way. So, you know, that's initially, I'd say, to answer your question on everything is basically one big Cinch plan in every single state that we're in.
Right. And no break fix residential clients, it sounds like.
No
Definitely
break fix.
residential.
All B2B, all monthly services, no time and material at all.
All right. Is there a minimum? Like, is it 10 and above, or?
So we it's either 10 users or in most markets, right? Some markets more expensive, but most markets $100 a user. So it's either 10 users or $1,000. If you got 5 users and you add 5 more, doesn't cost you any more money, right? Nobody wants to do support and not get paid. So you choose your floor, and it's like, I'm not getting out of bed for less than $1,000 a month. So
There you go.
Yeah, and like Mike said, every market is different. You know, if you're in New York City, you know, it could be more than if you're in a different state.
Yeah, and even if you know you've got a client that, because the regional teams, right? They're the one, like the help desk doesn't do the consulting for customers. The regional teams do the consulting, right? If they know that they're gonna, customers like, look, can you sit in on our board meetings once a week? Sure, they're gonna charge them more money. So they can charge as much as they want. We will not stop them charging as much as they want and doing some of those above and beyond consulting services. But as long as everybody's providing that same level, that same minimum standard, then we're happy.
All right. So I did put up on the screen for those watching the video your website, which is cinchit.com. And yes, it is exactly as it sounds, CINCHIT.com. And then I also put up the site that if you're interested, if you're out there and you're like, I want to grow, but I don't think I want to do it all on my own and I want to look at a franchise opportunity, cinchfranchise.com is a place where you can go and contact these fellas and see if that's an opportunity for you. And I did check, and you were probably going to be correct when you said Uncle Marv, Cinch IT of Florida, because there's not one here yet.
Not one. We hopefully a couple soon. So.
All right.
And I'll be happy to go and visit and train them in person. So.
I was going to say,
but only in February. I'm not doing it in August. They're on their own in August. So.
You also have to find Mike's golf clubs out there.
Yes.
So that sounds like a South Florida franchise there, the golf capital of Florida there.
Yeah, I wouldn't complain. So
Fort Myers, Venice. No?
I'm on board. I'll golf. I'll golf anywhere, Marv. I don't care.
Mike here's Florida and warm weather.
Let's go.
As long as you have golf and food, he's in for it. So.
I got you.
I'm I'm call my parents and ask for permission to go out and see if they can watch the kids. Just like.
Are your parents here in Florida?
No, my. But it's like, you're in high school. You say, hey, mom and dad, can I go out? And then you grow up and then you have kids. And then it's, hey, mom and dad, can I go out?
Oh, okay.
So
see, I don't have my own kids. I have a stepson. And so I don't have to worry about that. But we do get, probably shouldn't say this, but I'm going to. The wife is a sucker for when my sister wants to go do stuff. We watch the nephews.
Yeah. Well,
there you go.
That's nice.
Yeah, she's nice. So from another standpoint, let me ask, we talked a little bit about services and stuff, but most people probably want to ask about the stack and stuff, but I'm going to ask it in a way, what are the tools that you guys use that you just couldn't live without now? What is it that really makes Cinch IT tick?
I mean, everybody knows PSA, RMM, EDR, backups, all that stuff, right? And one of my favorite vendors, what was his name? I can't remember the guy's name. But he gives
Rob
a
Ray?
speech. No, it wasn't Rob Ray. He's from Compliancy Group. But he goes, stop talking about your stack, right? And if you get into speeds and feeds with a customer, you already lost the business anyways. It's look, you're trusting me. I chose these products, so like I know what I'm doing. Just these are products I know best. I'm going to support you best this way. So choose those EDR, CrowdStrike, SentinelOne, whatever, right? Whatever backup platform you like. All this stuff is 95% similar. It really is, right? So choose those best things. But the thing that we couldn't live without is Power Automate. It does so many little things in
Really?
the background to just help tie things together between email processing rules and things like that. It helps fill so many gaps. I'll give you an example, like a little thing, right? So we use BrightGauge. I don't know if anybody's used it. Cool little reporting tool, pulls in data from a bunch of things. Anyway, one of the things it does, we have it send out a daily report. Nothing fancy. It sends out a report, but it either sends out a link or it sends out an attachment. And what we were seeing is people weren't clicking that extra click to open the attachment, or click the link to go to the web-based version. So I took, I don't know, an hour or so, and Power Automate, just built-in tool, Microsoft, it's free, takes that PDF, converts it to a PNG file, and then embeds it in the email and sends it that way. So now it's just a picture in the body of the email, and it's just so many little things getting done with Power Automate that make my life so much easier.
So I'm familiar with this tool, but I've never used this tool,
It's terrifying,
and I don't remember why.
Yeah, it's if you do the same thing over and over, and it's got anything to do with the Microsoft stack, you do the same thing over and over, Power Automate can do it for you.
Okay, so they have a version for the desktop, for mobile, for web, and Teams.
Yes. You know how I got started with Power Automate, Marv?
Tell me.
The Teams lunch channel. I had Power Automate monitor the lunch channel and look for a new conversation where one of 3 different URLs were linked, because everybody posts a link to the menu, right?
Mhm.
And the local sandwich shop, if that menu got posted, Power Automate would automatically reply with my turkey bacon, extra bacon, no tomato sandwich order. And then lunch would show up for me, and it was wonderful. So that's how I got started with Power Automate.
Wait. Okay, so
Yeah, I
you
built
have,
Power Automate bot to order me a sandwich.
Mike
okay,
had
but
to shut that off eventually because he would be out of the office and come back to the studio.
I was on vacation, Marv. I ordered 5 sandwiches. So
I was going to say, what if for some reason that wasn't on the menu that day?
I mean, it's a turkey club. I mean, it's
I
at
don't
a
know.
sandwich place.
I'm not a foodie.
It's on the menu. But no, I had it randomizing between 3 different things at one point. I learned a lot ordering lunch with a bot. So
Good old AI, huh?
yeah.
Look at the examples they have here under the featured section. Get a push notification when you receive an email from your boss.
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend it for that. But what we've seen, right, as people move away from servers, and they don't like scan to email, we've set up Power Automate, and I think there's a pre-canned one for this, that you can use Power Automate to take an email attachment and save it to a SharePoint site. So you can replicate scan to folder with scan to SharePoint, and you can use Power Automate for that. So that's a free tip.
Okay, so I just made a note here to get with some people and talk about Power Automate, and we'll have an entire show on Power Automate.
Yeah, it can really get into the weeds and borderline software dev for some of it. So you can get real crazy real fast. And there's third-party integrations as well. We've got some things like if you need to send out mass mailers and whatnot, it can integrate with SendGrid and things like that. I think it'll do webhooks and all that stuff. So if you're not using it internally or using it to help customers solve some problems, I wouldn't recommend like fully supporting it, right? Unless you've got some of that software dev experience, because it can get real crazy. But if it's, I feel like it's an underutilized tool both internally and for customers.
Yeah, if it's not set up for me, I'm probably not going to spend the time to go figure it out. So that's why I want to put together a deal where you guys can show me what you have.
I'll send you a couple. Marv. I'll send you my lunch bot. So.
All right. And see, this is the joy of the live show. Scully is in the chat, and I have no idea what this is in reference to. Has nothing to do with Power Automate, as far as I can tell. Uncle Marv, can we concentrate on those New York Giants? No, we can't, because first of all, I can't believe they won. You guys follow sports?
Yeah, a little bit.
Little disappointed with football this year. So
yeah.
Oh yeah. Well.
Yeah, we've been spoiled.
We've been spoiled for the last few years, so now like we're just being sore losers and not watching football anymore.
I'm a sore football loser right now, but I'm watching the Bruins, so it's okay.
Yeah. So here's the question then. Are you happy or sad that Brady got blown out in this last playoff game?
I have a feeling about it. I mean, I'm not one of those guys I hate on Brady. I mean, at the end of the day, you can make any decision you want, and he goes down as the best football player probably there ever is.
I'm definitely on Team Brady versus Team Belichick, but at the same time, like, he's got to chill. Like, with the 80 for Brady stuff and all his TV, like,
I saw that and I'm like, are you kidding me?
Yeah. The 480-year-old women getting like Super Bowl tickets to go see Brady, really and like he's a producer, so you know it's just about how great he is. I don't know. He's I love him. He's awesome. It was excellent 20 years, but he's also insufferable.
Here's here's my one sports take on Brady that I'll say publicly. I liked it better when he didn't talk.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, just oh man.
I liked it much better when he had a script to follow and he stayed to it, and that was it. And ever since he came to Florida, that Florida man got into him and he's just spewing stuff, and it's like okay, here we go. So Scully, all right, I will put this up for people that are watching the show and listening. Scully writes, if they beat the Eagles, I want a whole Uncle Marv show dedicated to the New York Giants. So Scully, I will say this publicly. You got your show if the New York Giants can beat the Philadelphia Eagles. And I'm going to go on record and say that ain't happening. So, we shall see. Because Danny Dimes is going to remember that he's not Danny Dimes. And we'll see what happens. But yeah, Scully will mark it down. If the Giants beat the Eagles, you can get a show. When is that game, by the way? And I can't believe I'm spending podcasting time dealing with this.
Marv, we're like 2 for 2 on going off on tangents, but I've been having fun.
That's my show. I mean, I'm glad this isn't a nationally syndicated show, or else my sponsors would be. Oh, they play Saturday, 8:15 p.m. All right. And let's see. The line right now is Eagles by 7.5. So there you go. So Scully, I'll be asleep by the time that game ends. So you'll have to let me know if they win. And, okay. That's all I'm going to deal with on football here. So we started to talk Florida, man. Steve, did we talk before? I don't know. Do you understand the Florida man concept?
So I read in your email. I did search it up on Google and I did read some crazy stories from the Florida man. I did try to compare it to any in around in Massachusetts, and I couldn't find any that probably beat any of those stories.
Okay.
Definitely
And-
pretty crazy concept.
Florida man's undefeated. Marv,
Yeah.
you probably don't know this, but the number one radio station around here, they have a bit called Guess the Armpit of America, where they read this ridiculous news story and you have to guess.
Okay.
Florida always wins. It's always Florida. It's like, what does this happen in Oklahoma, Mississippi, Alabama, Kentucky? Nope, it's Florida. Like 99% of the time.
All right.
Florida man wins.
So I take it you guys just would rather answer a random question.
I'll go for the random question.
All right. So here we go. I'm going to ask each of you a different question, and I'm going to go to my site here. I'm going to generate here, and here is. Okay, this is an easy one. Which do you like better? I'm actually, Mike, this will be yours.
Okay.
Which do you like better, city or country?
Country.
Okay. And Steve?
Oh, come on.
What do you think people pretend to like when they really don't like?
Podcast. Sorry.
What was
Sorry.
the question again? What do they pretend they like when
What do people think what do you think people pretend to like when they really don't like?
Oh, vegetables. 100%.
They're like broccoli, like George Bush.
Yeah, nobody actually really likes vegetables. So
Oh man,
Who pretends to like? Nobody.
I don't know.
I've never heard somebody like, I love vegetables. They just eat them. It's like the first thing you hear out of somebody who's vegetarian is, "Oh, it's not that bad."
yeah, exactly.
All right, let me pull up what would have been your Florida man story to continue with. And I had another story picked out and printed and ready to go, titled Florida Man Phones in Bogus Fire, Bogus Shooting, and Smears PCs in Patrol Car. But that is not going to win because literally right before the show started, rapper Flo Rida awarded $82.6 million for breach of contract case. So on today, hip hop artist Flo Rida was awarded $82.6 million after a South Florida jury found that the makers of Celsius energy drinks breached a contract with the rapper and singer and tried to hide money from him. So Flo Rida
qualify as Florida company?
Yeah, it's weird, but so it's funny. And the reason this is all Florida man, so his real name is Tramar Dillard, and his production company Strong Arm Productions sued Boca Raton-based Celsius Holdings in Brevard County Court, and that's exactly right here, the home of Fort Lauderdale. So,
could you imagine somebody telling you owe somebody $82.6 million? I'd puke.
Wait, so here's the question.
I just started
good
throwing
luck.
up.
Good luck with that one.
They had $82.6 million to hide.
I'd still throw up. It's just like, no. Oh,
quite interesting. So yeah, so not a true Florida man story, but just stuff that happens down here all the time.
Great.
I don't even know what Celsius energy drink is, by the way. And
I don't
how
know.
do they?
They've probably got a terrible Instagram. So
it's all right. Well, guys, thanks a lot for hanging out. Mike, thanks for coming back. Steve, it was nice to meet you.
Really, it was awesome.
I didn't know you were going to bring a fan club with you. And Scully is still writing, so I don't know what this means. Prince Harry or Prince William. I don't know. I don't watch those guys. Which one wrote the book? Nobody knows. Good. Okay.
I don't care. I can't picture. Is Harry the redhead?
I don't know.
I think he's
Yeah,
the
I
one.
don't know.
Yeah.
Okay,
I can't
so William's the older one, right? If William's the older one, he's the bald.
Is he the one who just got kicked out? Who's the one who just got kicked out?
I thought they.
See? Oh, that was Andrew who got kicked out. Let's see. My wife's upstairs. You gotta ask, Matt. You gotta ask my wife these questions.
All right, so we'll continue this. So what we'll do is we will end off the show here, and we will continue to find out who is who, because I don't. Andrew, isn't he? He's the brother of Charles. I don't know.
Oh, it's William and Kate, and then okay,
William and Kate. That sounds like a TV show.
they have like 5 of them. I think that's just the BBC. It's just called William and Kate.
We'll look that up. Everyone, this is going to do it for this episode of the IT Business Podcast. For all things that you need to know about the show, head over to itbusinesspodcast.com. You can go back and listen to old episodes like 467 and catch up on that. You can also sign up for your favorite podcatcher and be alerted whenever we've got an audio podcast. And you can sign up here on YouTube and the Facebook anytime that we go live. And we have great conversations like we had tonight. Yes, we'll talk tech, and we'll even talk football and royal family as we can. So, Mike, Steve, thanks for coming out. I think I'll try to have you guys back on again, and we'll talk some more stuff and see if any of our listeners contact you and see about opening a franchise that is not here in Florida.
Okay,
absolutely.
Thanks, Marv.
Thanks, Marv.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back next week with a new show. Until then, holla. All right. So we're still live.
Okay.
And I was looking to see if anybody would help us out with who's who in the royal family, but
I got it up on another tab.
You do? Okay.
Yep. I couldn't remember which was which. So
Mike's a pro Googler when it comes to this stuff.
That's my job. I said that to somebody. Somebody's like, "How do you find something so fast?" I was like, "You ask me a question on Teams, and I ask Google that, and then I read the answer to you." So,
Have you started asking Chat GPT yet?
No. I'm that stuff scares me.
Did you see Microsoft is potentially investing, I think, $10 billion into OpenAI?
Yeah, I saw 2 headlines in a row for Microsoft. One of them was that they were taking $10 billion into OpenAI, and that the other one was they were cutting 10,000 jobs to save costs. So, like right after another. So, it's like, how many people do we need to fire to buy OpenAI? And they were like 10,000.
Yeah, Chat GPT is insane. I played around with it a little bit. It's definitely insane.
I played around with some of the image generators, but I haven't done the chat one yet.
So my question is, it only is indexed up to 2021. I mean, it sounds like they have no plans to update it. So how good is it going to be in a couple of years?
Well, and all the AI stuff seems like a black box. I feel like there's 3 people in the world who actually know how it all works. But my understanding is that once like you use whatever the old data, but then once people start to use it for real, or that like using it for real is worth 10 times as much as any data set you could give it. So that might be the game plan with not indexing new stuff. I don't know.
Interesting. I know somebody has been using it to actually do tech stuff when they ask about how to do a script. And the rumor is that this is what's helping all those ransomware people.
Yeah, I was reading another. Yeah, it was helping script kiddies write some basic malware, which I've been reading a book. This is how they tell me the world ends.
Yeah.
By a New York Times person. She was
Have
their
the word
cybersecurity. I can't remember her name,
does
but
it have
yeah,
the word Skynet in it?
no. She worked for New York Times and she was their cybersecurity reporter. So she got involved with like all the dark net stuff and no, Marv's dying. But like she was looking into all getting in on the dark web and how people buy and sell 0 days and getting into Stuxnet and things like that. And she's right. In that sooner or later our infrastructure is going to get hit by some 0 days, and I'm sure AI is going to help somebody somewhere on it.
Yep, that is a big thing, and that's got to be driving some of the stuff that's happening, and we are behind the eight ball apparently.
Yep. I mean, the oil pipeline and like the meatpacking facility and things like that.
Yep.
We've seen what happens with the supply chain, right? Because everything's optimized to 99.9% efficiency, but then if something happens and you can't get shipping containers to leave the dock, then you can't accept new shipping containers because there's no space to put them, and then everything grinds to a halt, and it takes years to get back up and running. So like if and or even it was Southwest, right? How they plan all their flights and all that. Like, could you imagine if that happened in the port of New Jersey? Like if the port of New Jersey gets shut down for a day, how long would that take to come back from?
I know we've had issues here with our port. We had them during COVID, and we still have them, and there's a lot of stuff that gets affected.
Yeah.
It'll be
Meanwhile,
interesting.
eggs are like $10 a dozen, but
Yeah.
whatever they're doing with this, whoever's in charge of Arizona iced tea needs to be in charge of the economy because it's still 99 cents
Really?
in most places. Well, it still says on the can, anyways. It still
Yeah,
says
so I think I saw on like CVS or something. It was like $1.09 now.
Yeah.
And, like
Either
store
way,
on there.
Arizona iced tea is recession proof and inflation proof.
So
So
I stopped drinking that stuff.
yeah, I got a 24 pack behind me.
I am cutting out sugar from my diet again.
I'm mostly done, Marv. I've just pretty much got the iced tea and then the big bag of Kit Kats next to me.
But here's the problem: sugar's in everything.
It is.
Yeah.
It's amazing how much stuff sugar's in.
Yeah, it's unavoidable, and
Well,
it's killing so many people.
grow your own organic garden.
Yeah, I'm not doing that either. So
No.
no.
Too much work. All right, guys. Well, let's see. So I've got to go find that truck.
You got to go to our Troy page. I put it up in the
in the
stream
private
In the
chat.
chat.
Yeah.
You go to that, then you scroll through the pictures, and you'll see it right there on the page.
Oh, okay. There we go. Those pictures. Oh, there it is. Look at that.
It's a nice truck, right?
I can't maximize it there. Okay.
You get open image in new tab, and then you'll see it a little bit bigger.
All right, Google. All right. So it's got a truck and a car.
Yeah, they.
Well, here's the question. I didn't ask you this during the show, but so Subaru's the car.
Mhm.
So
He's got a Chevy because they're in Detroit.
Right. But are they told that you get a Subaru and it has to be white, and that's part of the logo,
brand standards?
and all that? Okay.
Yeah, that's it's actually that's a franchise thing. Like that's one of the most important parts is buying into the brand, right? And I remember reading through when we first started. There's like 10 pages on the marks and what you can do and not do with the marks and marketing and all that stuff. But yeah, that's spot on with the colors. We like the hexagons and the blue and green. works for us.
All right. That may stop me from doing a franchise. I can't be driving around in a white car.
Why?
Although maybe a
It's the
white
most
Jeep,
popular car color.
a white Jeep Grand Cherokee.
I'm sure we could make something happen.
All right.
Brandon does all our Photoshop, and I'm sure he could whip up some wraps for a white Jeep Grand Cherokee.
All right. Sounds good. All right. Well, gentlemen, thank you guys for hanging out. Matt Scully's still listening. We are not talking football, Scully. Although you need to get me in that Facebook group, Scully, and we can do it over there. So, the New York Football Giants. See how that goes. All right. Let's.
Good luck to your Giants, Scully. I'm still bitter about 07, 08. So.
Oh, Eli.
Yeah, that was tough. That was a tough game to watch. The 18-1 season.
I was in. Wow.
That was a tough game to watch.
Yeah. At least there was a Manning that could beat Brady, right?
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to end off the broadcast here, folks. Again, thanks for hanging out, and we'll be back and see you next time. Mike, Steve, hang on a sec.